Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Money in the Law here at MyFM 101.3. I'm one of your hosts, John Drohan, along with the other host, and perhaps better and sometimes better looking. Well, I don't know. That's
always.
Well, you're definitely younger.
Yep, so, that's true. Definitely younger.
Younger. That is a fact. That is none other than our dear Jay Marsden from the Marsden Law Group, and we are of course joined today by, as you can see us on TV, by Christian Bidet from Holliston Cable Access TV. Christian, the owner of Holliston, he just recently purchased.
Yeah, that was a big media buy. It was between him, Rupert Murdoch. There was a big news in the media.
Cox Media was in on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Warner Brothers.
Xfinity was also looking at it. There were a couple of bidders. Christian came in, kind of a white horse, white knight, they say in the business.
Yep.
And said, look, you know what?
Said,
this
you know
is
what?
it. I'm building my media empire.
He said, I don't care if it's losing money. Yep. I don't care. I want it, and I'm going to make it work.
I don't care if it doesn't. Well, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. So this is it. Now, next thing you know, where's it start? Now, maybe the National Enquirer. Who knows where it goes from here? AMI Media, he becomes a big player.
I think the whole reason he acquired HCAT is for Don Cronin. And let's call it.
Cronin the Barbarian.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't?
Right.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't move heaven and earth?
I mean, it's not like he bought the company. He bought Don.
But the image. It's image.
He bought Don.
Brand. It's brand awareness. Brand awareness.
Well, let me ask you this. If Warren Buffett was for sale, would you buy him?
Absolutely. I'm long Warren Buffett. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd buy him. If Elon Musk was for sale, would you buy him?
I'm not sure right now.
I don't know. You're not a
saying,
Tesla guy?
I'm not saying the guy doesn't know how to make money. I'm just saying lately he's a little off the grid.
He's a little
off the grid.
But you know what? That's
how
he does
it.
He
needs? He needs a vacation. That's what he needs.
He probably needs to take a break.
He needs to hang. You know who he needs to hang out with? Richard Branson. One of my all-time heroes. All-time heroes. Love him. Branson. Guys buying islands, hanging out with the
airline. I got my islands, right? Hanging out with the extra, right? That actually was pretty funny. The whole Barack Obama, Richard Branson vacation.
Kiteboarding together. Yeah.
See you later.
Come on, right?
I'm going to show you how a retired president goes on vacation.
Yep. He's not hanging out down at the gassy sip I'll get a couple of Diet Cokes to go.
He's not playing a round of golf, down in Key Largo. No,
he's hanging with Branson on his private island. Yep.
Is there a golf course on that island? That's got to be.
Who knows? It's Branson. Who knows?
So, all right. So we're back. It's been a while. Right?
We've
taken a little hiatus and that usually happens in the summer. We take a little time off. Every now and again, you'll see us around town, but most of the time we go dark in the summer. But now we're back. Now summer's officially, I hate to say it, is over.
Oh, no, it's not over yet.
Well, it'll
be over Monday.
It'll be over
at the witching hour of midnight.
I understand the logistics of it, but your children, my children, all back to school.
Well, that's their problem. That's not my problem. Their summer is over. My summer hasn't ended yet. Their summer is over.
That's right. So, is there one more? You guys have to go to Cape Cod on Labor Day.
We'll probably splash down there for another 4 days and try to drag it out as best we can. And
what's our Cape weather looking like?
Awesome. Yeah, 75, sunny. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Last great weekend.
Yeah. It was cold this week here in Holliston. It was. You could tell fall was upon us.
Let me tell you, I was in South Texas for a week, and it was chillier down there than it is up here right now. It is just unbearable. Blast furnace hot up here.
I do have to give a shout out to a mutual friend of ours, none other than the great Jason Green. So Green doing some work at my house, who's not a sponsor, but I think he, for all intents and purposes, he might as well.
He could be talking to it.
So we need to we should probably bring him on the air. Because he looks good. He's a good-looking guy. We could put him on TV.
I know, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
Well, whatever. So. I mean, I'm comple saying it.
Go ahead.
If you're nervous, if he makes you nervous,
that's fine. A little intimidated. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But Jay,
a little self-conscious.
So my boy Jason Green last night. So they were doing some work in the house, helping me with the gas line, and they worked all day, and then. We get home and it's about 8:30 and we realize we're like, hey, is the air conditioner on, like the AC? And it's not. And of course, me with my extensive handiwork and my extensive capabilities couldn't fix it. And I'm like, oh my god, like the air conditioner's broken, and it's on the eve of could be the hottest day of the summer, right?
Yeah.
So. And I don't know, and it's not like Green was working on the air conditioner. It was just, we was around it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're the last one. So I text him. We text back and forth like 9 o'clock, and I get at 9:30, I'm coming over. Yep.
There you go.
My man. And it turns out that he was able to put the circuit breaker on that I couldn't find. And no, there's some other things he did, but he totally hooked me. So I wanted to thank him on the air, like officially public, yeah.
An official money in the law.
Official
Thank
money
you.
in the
Official
law.
money in the law.
Jason Green and Green Plumbing and Heating.
So the other side of that is, so we don't have central AC at my house.
Oh.
We go old school.
But you have window units,
We have
right?
we have 2 window units. We have 3. We have 2 window units and 1 in the room unit. Okay. So when you come in the house, it sounds like I'm warming up an F-15 in the living room, right? Getting ready for takeoff,
Hey,
right?
honey.
You walk in, there's guys walking around with that stuff, Top Gun.
That's right. I was going to say there's guys with helmets with the headphones on and the direction thing.
That's right. That's right. So it sounds like there's an F-15.
They're doing like that.
Yep, that's exactly right. Taking off in my living room,
flight
right?
deck of an aircraft carrier.
Yep. And so my daughter was upstairs, and I'm just going to say that obviously heat rises, so it's a little warmer upstairs than it is downstairs. So I come walking down the hallway, and my poor daughter says to me, "Hey, Dad, it's pretty hot. Why don't we throw one of the air conditioner units in the window?" No, not doing that. No.
Oh no, why would we do that?
No.
Oh wait, so you don't have your air conditioner units actually?
No, one in my room. One in my room.
Just like my dad.
Yeah.
Just like my old man. We had one air conditioner in our house growing up. It was in his bedroom.
That's exactly right. That's the same as my house. Yep. So or not just in your room, or how about the old, let's hang some sheets up over the doorways? Everybody listening, everybody who's listening, all right? If growing up, your parents would hang sheets over the doorway to keep all the cold air in.
Yeah.
Give yourself a couple toots on the horn right there, right? See if anybody around you's listening to the show. Give you the same love, right? That was like, hey, this is all, this is how we keep it all in, right? And
Yeah,
then
we know what we're doing.
And if you linger too long in the doorway, you get yelled at, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
come on,
hey, whoa.
interrupt.
Let's go.
Let's go. Close those sheets.
You're letting the cold air
The
out.
cold air out. Yep, that was old school right there.
And,
Yep.
and I tell you what, it was, and maybe it was because it was such a change in temperature when you'd go from the hall, because we grew up in this raised ranch, right? And from the hallway to my dad's bedroom, but it was literally like, it was almost like you're going through some kind of a time warp, and the next thing you know, I'm in Antarctica, or I'm in Alaska, right? It was so cold in his room.
Oh, yeah.
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 He'd have a sweatshirt on.
Yeah, watching the game, you're like, oh my God,
Dad,
you
you okay?
Yeah, exactly. Hang meat in
freezing
there.
in here.
Yeah, you can hang meat in there, right? Just unbelievable. And then, of course, after a couple of years go by, you start to notice, because you can pick it out. If you go to somebody's house this weekend, you look around. What do they have in the corners of the door frame? 800 thumbtack holes, right?
Oh, yeah.
From all the
Put it
sheets
right
that
here.
were put up over the years, or the ones that fell down and had to get replaced up there. That was a standard move right there.
Those aren't thumbtack holes from Christmas decorations.
No, that's right.
No one hanged Christmas decorations on the inside door of their bedroom.
That's right. That's right. That was about hanging up a couple of sheets, keeping it cool in there. That is that's a throwback.
Well, you think about like back in the day, right? And it's right. So back in the day, there was only how many days did you need to like have air conditioning? This is how my dad sold it to me, right? No. You guys, give me 1 week. 8 days, maybe 8 hot days. The rest of the time is fine. You go in the basement, right? Remember you said hot air rise. Get in the basement. So my brothers in my room were down in the basement. So it was, a nice cool 80,
Moderate.
a nice 80 down there, right? And then there was, 95 upstairs. And that's how it was.
Not in Dad's room. It's 62
Oh,
in
no,
Dad's room.
in Dad's
Maybe
room.
58, depending on how long it's been since somebody came through the sheet.
And did he ever turn that air conditioner off? No. Never. That thing ran 24/7 from
And it was like
Memorial
having a
Day.
Corolla hang out of your window, right? Weighed 4,000 pounds, right? This is pre-energy saver, right?
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like the sound of Freon burning in the atmosphere, filling up the room. It was just unbelievable.
And what a project it was to get it in the window. And you'd wonder like how, and it was, and there was like 10 pieces of plywood and all, like, and there's some big 2x4, like a 40-foot 2x4, like holding it up on the bottom. Right. And you couldn't walk. And anytime you walked outside, if you walked even close to that thing, my old man, no, get out of there.
Get away from there.
Yeah, you never know. Because he knew he put it in. Of
course he
knew
did,
he put it in, and he knew that at
there,
any
but
given
for the
moment,
grace of God,
at
yep,
any given
that's right,
moment, that
yep.
thing can fall in a car.
That's right. Yep, the insurance company loved that. Oh my God. My old man actually did that. My old man actually dropped the air conditioner out the window, 3 stories down, through the sunroof.
Into the car.
Into the car.
What damage did it do to the car?
Oh, it wrecked the sunroof, obviously. That had to come out. So, of course, I call him thinking I'm so funny, right? Like, hey, Dad, they come with air conditioning now. You don't have to install it yourself. I'm laughing it up like it's nobody's business, right? Guess who a year later drops the air conditioner out the window and almost kills the dog? This guy right here.
like father, like son.
Yep.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
He got a hold of that one. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to save this
and
little
almost
gem right
killed
here."
the dog.
Yep. Seamus is laying on the spot where the air conditioner landed 30 seconds prior to the impact. He comes in, and I think that scared him off the front deck for a good solid 6 or 8 months. I mean,
you think about it, that's
no, don't even think about it. No,
there's
no one's allowed to think about it.
No. I can't even believe that you talked about it. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud. Look, if I didn't, somebody else would. So it might as well get it out there. But,
man.
not one of my.
Can you imagine?
And that's when
that's like getting hit by a piece of Skylab, literally.
Yeah. That's when I said I'm done with these window units. I'm done. So I hate dragging them up every year. I hate putting them away.
That's right, kids. Yep, we're going with the F-15.
That's right.
Well. Yeah. This isn't. This isn't money in the. This isn't AC and refrigeration.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So what's on your mind? Let's move. This is all good stuff. Happy hot summer weekend. Last one, enjoy it. Is the point.
Yep, Labor Day weekend. So try not to do too much labor on Labor Day. So what do I want to do? Well, just we were talking about it. So I brought Jay over today because we're having, he's getting his new car refurbished or something like that.
Just whatever.
He's in between cars right now. You're waiting for your new custom ride.
For my new ride. With the new sunroof, by the way. With the absolutely new sunroof.
Folks, you wait till you see. I mean, there's gonna be a new Jay in town. There's gonna be a new Jay because now he's pretty obscure. Jay's had a couple cars, and they're not like big flashy cars. They're nothing that you would look twice at. They're nice, good, solid cars, right? Solid Audi, solid Honda Pilot. But now things are going to change. You're going to be like Boss Hogg driving around downtown Holliston now. Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I won't spill the beans.
Yeah, we'll save it. We'll save it.
You know what? We may put a picture of it on the website when the website is actually up and running. We'll put a picture of it on the website. So we were talking about. Actually, we're on the way over. We were talking about like kind of the idea of we were talking about purchasing cars or making big purchases.
Well, the genesis of the conversation was my daughter just got her license.
What did you want to talk about?
All right.
This.
So this is how this fills in. So we started talking about used cars. Go ahead. My daughter just got her license. Congratulations. Great driver. Go ahead.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
You were talking about the car thing. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about like big purchases, and in the whole financial plan, one of the things that comes up is the idea of, okay, one of the questions I'll ask is, and you ask the same thing, is like, okay, so how much money you got? How much you have here? How much there? Yeah. You kind of mix everything up, and you say, all right, well, how much do you? And then especially if someone's got cash in the bank. So if you come to somebody and they're like, how much cash you have in the bank? I have $150,000 in the bank. Like, wow, that's great. You sure know how to save, or you robbed a bank, or you inherited money, or something happened that enabled you to have that kind of money in the bank. So the next question is, are there any big purchases coming up? Is there anything big that's going to happen that you have to buy? Do you have to put a new roof? Do you have to put a new boiler? Do you have to buy a new car? New cars one. So this is one of the things that oftentimes I'll ask kind of how old are the cars?
Sure.
Because this was our conversation the way over. It's like, well, each of us drive cars that have hundreds of thousands of miles on them, and that's but at some point the car you're going to need to replace your car. So
yeah.
So. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the car buying experience, which was, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on it, but I enjoy it. And I've enjoyed it. I guess I enjoyed it more in the old days than I do now.
This is what we're talking about. Things are a little different these days.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it after the break, but things are a little different. So stay tuned for this idea of the big purchase. We'll use the car as the example. And the idea of sort of prepping for the big purchase and how to sort of build it into the cash flow plan, if you will, or build it into some plan, right?
Right. Well,
you guys might do.
Well, what? All right. Well, you know what? Like I said, we'll be back. We'll talk about this, and we'll fill everybody in on what we're talking about when we come back, right after a word from our sponsors or these others from everybody else. Actually, what I want to do is I was just trying to frame it up. I was trying to put it in finance. Are we off the air? Are we off?
No,
you know what? My FM 101.3, Money in the Law. We'll be right back.
And we're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group, John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Talking all things money, all things law. Christian at the con, keeping us 5 pounds skinny and handsome on camera at HCAT. And we're chit-chatting here about big purchases and how they kind of sneak up on you and how to prepare for them. And John was doing something before the break. I'm not really quite sure what you were doing, but fill us in. Fill us in. I'm dying to hear this.
So no, I was talking about how. So one of the big purchases is buying a car.
Yes.
So I didn't want to make the show just about buying a car, but folks, that's what it is. It's about buying a car.
That may be where it goes. That may be
right
where
it's going.
That may be where it goes.
So it's about buying. So I'll tell a quick story. So when we bought a third car when my daughter started driving, we bought a third car. I was under the impression, this is, so back in the day, in the old days, when you would go buy a used car, and my old man was a used car, I mean, it was almost like he was at some Moroccan marketplace wherever he went. He was always trying to make it. He was always bartering and
everything's
was a haggle.
negotiable. Everything's negotiable,
right? So and as historically, in buying cars, particularly used cars, that has always been, if you were on Family Feud and say, name something that's a negotiable price, the number one answer would be used car.
Well, it was like the last bastion of pure capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Get in there and let's figure
let's
out
make a deal.
Let's make a deal. That's right. Let's make a deal.
Right, and the salesmen were built for it. They were all sales. They were pure and for and it's not much different now. Like when you go to a car dealership, they understand it's competitive. They have to be, salesmen. That's how they make their living.
Well, it was such a big deal that Saturn built an entire brand around not doing that.
That's right.
That was that's the price you see. That's the price you get. Just
that's
like
right.
Everything else in the
they
world.
try to be kind of contra to all and Saturn's out of business now, by the way.
Yep,
So
different story. It's a different show.
But so back in the day, you could go and you could negotiate a price for a used car, and there were a couple different factors that played into it. One of them was if you had cash on hand, right? If you weren't going to go through, if you were going through a deal, you could finance, or you could finance through a bank. But if you had cash on hand, that made that used car. That's right. You got their attention.
Pun intended. You were in the driver's seat, right?
That's right. You were there. So let's say you were going to buy a used car and the sticker price on the car was $10,000. You knew in your mind, I am not paying that sticker price.
$10,000. Nope. That's for suckers. Nobody pays $10,000.
Nobody
pays retail.
Nobody pays the retail,
yep,
right?
Right.
And it's there for a reason. It's there just to come down from, right?
Yeah.
So, and when I bought my car, which I bought used, it was kind of like that. This was back in 2009. My car's been on the road a while, right?
It's got a couple miles on it. Yeah, sure.
So when we were buying the other car, this is probably about 4 years ago. I go to a used car dealer, and all he has is used cars. So I go in and I say, here he said, this is how much this car is going to cost.
Well, first of all, you don't walk in.
No.
You walk in.
Yeah.
You walk in like I am. John Drohan is on the property.
But remember, the whole reason that I'm there, is because I've already done an exorbitant amount of research on the web.
Of course.
Right? I've already
now
because there's this new thing called the internet, the interweb. And you can look for cars. There's dozens of different sites. You can find them, and they'll even tell you, "Hey, there's a car here at this dealership."
Yeah.
And you can go and check it out. So
this is guns loaded.
This is how I came to this dealer, and there was a nice young man that was working at this dealer, and I said, so I came in. I said, "This is the car I want to see. I like it. He said, "This is the price," and let's say the price is $14,000. Said, "This is the price," and I said, "Oh, I know. That's what it says."
Let the games begin.
I know, and I was psyched. I'm like, "Here we go, here we go." Right, I had my checkbook, and I said, "I know that it's not that. I know that that's what that says, but how much is it really?" And he looks at me and he goes, "It's $14,000." And I said, "I know that's what that piece of paper says. That's not what it really is." And I said, "What's the best price you can do?" And I'm like, and I know this isn't even going to be the best price. I'm like, we're just getting the ball rolling.
Just getting warmed up.
And he says, I could probably come down $200. And I'm like, oh, wow. Wow, that's a lot. And I tried not to be too dismissive of him.
No.
So,
bound respect. Yeah, sure.
Right. I mean, I don't even know him, right? I'm not going to make him feel bad.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And then I pulled out my checkbook. Now, it's not like I have any fancy checkbook. It's not even in a book. It's just like like one of the checks, and there's maybe 3 checks left on it. There's all fringes on it, right? So it doesn't even look cool. And I pulled it out, I'm like, I got this. And he's like, okay, great. So you have money.
That's good. We like that. We like that helps.
That's gonna help this negotiation go a little better. And I said, what's the real price? And he goes, I can come down. Let me check. And he's trying to. I was telling you this. He's trying not to be too condescending. Yeah. He goes, I can come down $200. And I was like, I know that's what you said. And he goes, listen, when was the last time you bought a used car? And he says this to me, and I'm like, I don't know. Why? Does it seem like a while?
I'm not good a negotiator. Is that what you're picking up on? I feel
goes,
like I know what I'm doing.
And he goes, just like, he goes, things have changed. Things have changed. He goes, there's this new thing, he even says it, new thing called the internet, that all the cars like that are in this, like, and it's all based on geographic location as well. You may, if you're buying a car.
Oh, it's a combination. The first thing they ask you is, right?
Yeah.
What's your zip code, right?
Yeah.
First thing they ask you, punch your zip code.
So this same car in West Texas may cost a little bit less, but
Right.
it's based, so where you are, and then the type of car, the condition level that it's in,
Sure.
and the number of miles, right? So this, we were looking at, the car that we were looking at was a Toyota. This particular kind of Toyota, with this many miles in this condition, is going to have a window, and the window isn't like plus or minus $4,000.
No,
the window is
no.
plus or minus like $200.
Yeah.
And that's it. And maybe maybe one guy's a little bit hungrier than somebody else, so he'll give you a little bit more off, or you get him on a good day, but you're not. It's not like you're going to get thousands of dollars knocked off the price.
No. And we talked about this before. And so having my daughter now getting her license, right? So now we're talking about, all right, what kind of car is she going to get? And I was talking to a very well-known, very reputable mechanic in the area, and we were having this conversation. And I said to him, so look, I got to figure something out for my daughter. And I said, what if I want to get her a good used car? Basically, so what am I looking at? And he goes, look, you got to spend like 10 grand, north of 10 grand. And
to get a good car.
I said, for a used car, for my teenager? And he says, yeah. He says, everybody thinks they're going to walk into a dealership and spend 2 grand and get, a used Lexus with 28,000 miles on it, and leather interior.
28, that's a lot.
Sirius satellite, nav station,
right.
sunroof, all the. He says, no, you got to spend decent money to get a decent car. You want to spend 3 grand? You're going to get a piece of junk. He said that's what you're looking at. That's for the reasons that you just mentioned. Everybody knows what's out there. Everybody knows the inventory. So for these major purchases, I mean, how many people have done it? You're in the store, you're in Lowe's, and you're looking at a fancy, $800 washing machine. It's the first thing you do.
Yeah.
I just take a picture of the product number, the model number, and I pop it into Google and see what else is out there.
See who's
right?
got it, right.
I mean, everybody knows what everybody else is charging.
And like you said, it can happen. It happens instantaneously.
Yeah.
And you know who knows this more than anybody? The people who make a living selling cars,
Yeah.
or the people who make a living selling washing machines. They know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
They know. There's countless studies, and they know exactly how the consumer acts. They spend a lot of money to know that information
That's right.
of what a consumer is going to tend to do, what the type of consumer, like the age and everything. They know this. So if you go in and it's time for you to buy a car, it's like and that's what this guy told me. He's like, look, this thing's priced to move. He goes,
right.
Right. So then of course, in the next phase of negotiation, the next stages of it is I'm going to leave. And that's and that's when everybody gets.
Hey, you put the hammer on. That's it. I'm walking off the lot right now.
I'm leaving right now. I'm starting my car. Right.
Yep. I'm walking to my car. This is me walking to my car.
And
this is me walking.
And I've always, I mean, forever, I've always enjoyed buying cars. I've enjoyed it because I rarely do it, and I know the dance. And I know this.
You like the banter. You like the back and forth.
And I get it. And I set aside time. And instead of because so many people will be like, oh, I hate buying cars. It's so stressful. I got to go back and talk to the manager. So I would embrace it. I love it. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, hey, do you need to go talk to your manager? Because if you do, I got plenty to do right here. I brought a book.
I got
ready.
the checkbook right here. I'm ready to roll.
Go talk to your manager. Go talk to him.
I'm filling out the check right now. I'm filling out. I'm putting a dollar amount in.
Bring him over here. I want to meet him. I want to meet him because sooner or later, right? So this guy that I was with, he didn't have a manager. He was the manager. He was like, he was one guy. It was a one-man shop. And he goes, this car is priced to sell. And I go, I get that, right? The 200, right?
Of course it is. Yeah.
And I said, but I'm going to leave. And he goes, okay. He goes, I want to sell it to you. He goes, but you can leave. And I go, what do you mean?
Whoa.
I go, no, I mean it. I'm going to leave. Like I'm walking out the door. And he's like, he goes, no. He goes, you can go. He goes, you can go. He goes, this car it's a good car. He goes, it's a popular car. He goes, why do you think you're here? Why do you think you're interested in this car?
That's right.
And I'm like,
That's right.
And I'm like, this is the best sales jobs anybody's ever pulled
You're
on
not
me.
buying a Yugo.
Yeah. And he goes, people want this car. He goes, this car is going to sell within the month. He goes, do you want to buy it? And I'm like, I'm stuck, right? I'm like,
He turned it around right
he
on
did.
you.
He had me. He had me. So just out of sheer pride or stubbornness, I left. I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
Actually, I left because I didn't want to spend that money. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong car. Like,
And then you go back and turn the computer on again and check out what's going on there.
Exactly what I was. I'm like, I can't spend more than I was going to spend. So yeah. So I left, and sure enough, like I'm sure that car sold. I'm sure, because then, after this new like epiphany that I got from going to this used car dealer, I then kind of went back and I really compared
Hat
it.
in hand.
And I looked at it and
Yeah.
I said, he ain't kidding.
No.
Like, there's no, like, if I want a car that's got between 60 and 80,000 miles, this is how much it costs. This is how much this brand costs. So at the end of the day, the whole idea of making this kind of big purchase, you're not going to have the same kind of leverage for the used car. Now, when we come back from break, I'll talk about buying the new car, because the new car is that I think that there's I still think there's a little bit more leeway, a little more give in the new car, because it's a different profit margin. It's a different
profit margin, and there's also a different on the back end. There's a different intent in selling you that car, which we will talk about after the break. But there's a whole nother. It's more about just giving you the car and have you walk away, right? It's a slightly different animal. There's a whole nother approach. There's an undercurrent of what they're really trying to get you to do.
So for those of you who are thinking you're listening to Car Talk or some other kind of car show that two guys became famous for on the radio talking about cars.
Yeah, not that.
We're not them.
Yeah.
We're not those guys. This is Jay and John from Money in the Law. We're talking about the law of used car buying and the money that goes into it.
Yeah, we're not going to tackle the lemon law today. We could. That's another story. We could. That's another show.
The lemon law. I love the lemon law.
It's a whole other discussion.
We have to. Maybe we'll mention it on the way out. All right. We'll be right back.
And you're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group. John Drohan from Main Effort Financial. We're talking to you and coming to you this not live. We're coming to you this
live enough
Labor Day weekend. I hope you're having a great weekend. This would have been a great opportunity. Probably a lot of barbecues this weekend. Obviously, the premise of the whole show is to have discussions around money and
when
the
are we
law.
going to get invited to
Just
a barbecue?
like
So we're almost out of barbecue season.
Yep, that's right. We might have to move into cocktail party season. That's a different animal.
That involves a Halloween party, a costume party.
By the way, they're not available yet, but there's been some talk about John and Jay costumes available at MyFM 101.3. If you want to go as your two favorite radio show hosts, imagine the way a room would light up. A room would just light up when you walk in and somebody says, "What are you for Halloween?" And you say, "I am one." And better yet, you go with a friend. We are
Money in the
two
Law.
of the greatest radio show hosts in Milford, between Beaver Street and East Main Street, and we're the Money in the Law hosts.
And you most likely you're going to win the prize. You're going to win the costume. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the takeaway is.
Right,
I mean, for originality.
The Frodo
right
Baggins.
Yep.
That guy's not going to win.
Yep, that's right.
Donald Trump lookalike isn't going to win.
The M&Ms aren't going to beat you. The box of crayons, they're not going to beat you. Money in the Law.
Yeah.
The hosts of Money in the Law.
Put it in the bank.
I tell you, the biggest challenge going to a party like that, dressed as us, is all night long, you're going to get peppered with questions about money in the law.
So you have to study.
So you either going to study, maybe you kind of internship with us a little bit. We'll just give you some very nebulous, non-committal answers that will at least get you through the party or through the beginning part of the party. And then when the end of the party rolls on, you can just make your exit. Or what a lot of people do is they change out of the costume because it's uncomfortable. The person that comes in dressed as a 15-foot Viking thinking it was a great idea, and then they're like, "I got to wear this all night," So
the good thing about us is, although we're both pretty tall, you don't really have to go with the stilts. I mean, I think you probably get away with it without the stilts.
Well, we look taller on TV. That's probably why, and we look taller on radio. So that's
really
the bigger issue. That's the bigger issue. So prior to the break, we were talking about a big purchase. But also a big purchase that is kind of it's a changed purchase over years. Before you thought you were going to walk into a used car dealership and you thought you were king of the hill because you were there to buy a car, and they should be kneeling at your feet to get you to take this car do them a favor and make somebody's month.
They should be paying you to take that car off the lot.
Well, and of course, as we discovered and talked about earlier in the show, that is not the case these days because of that little invention called the internet. kind of level the playing field for everybody. Remember before you'd go to like the Edmunds website and you'd print off all the material?
Yeah,
like it
you
was
do
super
some homework.
secret. You do some homework.
No one knows about it. And you come up and you start sharpshooting. I'm like, so what's the gas mileage on this? And they're like, blah 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 blah. You're like, no, it's not.
I'm the Edmunds referral right here. And I know you get a 3% kickback from the dealership for this car.
Yeah.
So my true cost of this car should be this.
I don't want you to make any money.
Take that.
Yeah, that's right.
Take that.
You are to make no money on
Give
my
it away
deal.
at cost.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And now that's not to say that there's not some deals out there. And that's the other side. It's the flip side of this coin is that there's the internet, and you can go find cars. You can find cars right now. Like you can find cars today, and you know if because of kind of the normalcy of the pricing now. Where before, if you're going in and you're to a dealer and you're buying a used car, you're like, I mean, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. You may now again, kind of lemon law aside, you don't know if you're getting like a really good deal because who has the time to kind of go from to a bazillion different places. You know?
Yeah, and a lot of times now when you buy a car, especially from a dealer, they have some type of service area in the back. So it's not like you can say to the person, well, I'm going to take the car to my person so they can go over the car, give it the once over. Then I'm going to come back. I mean, you're not buying a house, right? You're not doing a home inspection. You know, you just, look, you want the car. This is what the car costs. You know, there's a lemon law. They give you some protections in the back end. But, you know, you want to buy the Toyota. You want to buy the RAV4. You want to buy the Camry. Here's what it is. You want to buy it? Yes, no, maybe. You know, to your point, somebody else is walking in the door right behind you.
Yeah, they're going to sell it.
Yep.
They're gonna, and they know it. They know what their inventory, you know, they know, and that's the thing. So maybe if you are looking for the, for the used Yugo or something like that, then there may, although a Yugo, that may be like a collector's item now.
Could be Edsel. Somebody who used Edsel. Yeah, something like that.
I was thinking during the break. I was thinking about when you said, you can't just walk in and $10,000 and say I'm gonna, I'm gonna get I'm gonna buy. Can you imagine if you had $10,000 back when we were buying cars? Like $10,000 to buy a used car.
Oh, back
like,
in the day.
You know what you're buying? You're buying that Camaro.
Yeah.
You're buying that like
with
that
the T roofs.
Yeah, you're buying the coolest car in the senior parking lot.
Yeah.
Like you are that guy. But $10,000.
10 grand now, you're like, yeah.
10 grand back in the 40s when Jay and I were in high school. Yeah. Like
back when you had to crank the
car
car
up. War,
Back when you had to crank the car up in the front.
Before the war.
That was way back in the day.
We put chains on our tires and in the winter, it was.
So now to your point from earlier before the break. So the large car purchase from a new car purchase. The new car purchase, I think you have some wiggle room, right?
You do. You have a little bit more, and again, this is based on experience, right? So I'm not an expert on this, but it feels like you have more room to. They have more negotiating room on a new car because for a number of different reasons. I think part of the reason is because the new cars they're new. So they have some maybe some bells and whistles that are uncomparable to other there's a lower inventory of cars that are similar and I think the payout from a business perspective the dealer is going to make more money on a new car than they're going to make more money they have more profit margin on a new car.
There's some dealer incentives built in there and there are some targets and I forget where it was, but there's out there somewhere in Radio Land. There's a show that kind of follows these guys for a month, and talks about the pressure that goes on and the pressure that builds as the month goes on to meet their sales quota for the month. So I mean, I think there's still some truth to this idea that when you walk in, August 23rd to August 24th, you have a little bit more bargaining power than you do August 1st, right? Beginning of the month. So there's some flexibility built in around that. And the other thing too is, I mean, the business is different these days, and people who are in it will tell you that, the purpose of in a lot of these purchases now is to really, it's a service delivery device, right?
Sure.
They want you to come back to the dealership. They want you to have the car service there. They want you to go, you want to get your tune-ups there, get your oil change there. There's a maintenance component that's a lot different than it might have been years ago, where you just kind of bought the car and they kind of hoped you came back, but if you didn't,
they didn't make the money on the service end that they do now. And remember, so if I bought a new car, I would be more inclined, especially with the complexity of new cars these days and how things change and just the computers and the computer systems in the car. You're incentivized to go back to the dealer and have your service done at the dealer until that car becomes old, right? Until that car becomes kind of like outdated, with respect to the new
Whatever the newer
digital,
model
the
is or whatever's
the
coming
computer,
out.
but
Yep,
just
yep.
everything, like all of the the intel and everything that kind of goes into these cars. Once your car becomes used, then you probably have a different service mindset than you would when if you spend a lot of money on a brand new car.
Yeah, there's a lot, and if you're still paying for it, a lot of people feel like, well, while I'm still paying for it, I might spend more money to get it fixed, but when I'm not paying for it, I'm kind of at some point you switch over to it's a maintenance thing versus opposed to keeping it bright and shiny and handling it that way.
And do the dealerships, and do the car industry, do they know this? Of course they do.
Yes,
of course
that's
they
right.
do. So that's why you're the smart ones, the successful dealerships, their service department. I mean, it's state of the art.
It's cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's state of the art, and they get it. They also understand that there's a service level of service that it's not like you can't just be like, hey, I'm gonna oh yeah, you can take it in like a week from now. They're like,
Right.
They get it. They need to turn that car over, get it, do whatever needs to be done on it, and you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay.
But now there's, to your point, there's a lot more from a service perspective. Seeing a loaner now, that used to be a huge deal. Like, oh my God, they have a loaner. Now, a lot of people competing in that area. So they want your service business. They're going to say, yeah, drop it off. We'll give you something else. Take it and go. That's fine. That's great.
And then if they're really good, they're going to loan you something that you may be interested in buying. Because how many times have you had your car in for service, especially if it's if it's an older car, right? If you have an older car going for service, and they look at it and they say, hey, this car, this is a Nissan Xterra. This thing has 68,000 miles on it, and it's 5 years old.
Yeah.
I could get a lot of money, and it's in great shape, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, how much you want?
How about the loaner? The loaner will give you the Armada for the loaner. You drive around on this for a day or two.
Are you interested in trading in and trading up? There you go.
Or how many times have you gotten a postcard in the mail from a dealership? Locally, a dealership sends you a postcard that says, hey, we're looking for used cars, right?
Yeah.
Bring yours in. Let's see what we can do. We'll make you a deal,
I
right?
love it.
Come on in, and we'll swap out your 05 Pilot for an 015 Pilot or an 018 Pilot, and we'll throw some sweeteners in there to get you in there. Why do they do that? It's not because they love 15-year-old pilots, right? There's a business model that says that our margins are much thicker on that Pilot of yours than the new one we're going to push out the door.
Well, there is a I think there's a limit to that. So it's funny. So I had taken my Nissan Pathfinder, which is a 2009, which has several miles on it, several 100,000
hard miles too. Hard miles.
Yeah,
hard miles.
Not hard, but So I have a lot of mileage on my car. I'll tell you, 188,500. We just won.
I'm a 200 guy. If I get it to 200,
I'm
gonna get to 200. Get my money's worth.
So I had a windshield issue that I had to go to the dealership to. They were the only guys I thought could fix it.
Sure.
So I went to the dealership, and the guy even said, hey, so are you looking about? And I go. And this was he was at the front desk. He wasn't the guy who actually looked at my car, and he didn't really know kind of anything about my car. He goes, hey, are you interested in it? What, maybe, and they're always trying to, get you to the sales desk, to talk to the sales guys. And I said, are you interested in trading your car? And I go, I don't know. What do you, I mean, yeah. Like,
sure. Why wouldn't I be?
What do you think I could get for my
better.
What do you think I could get for my trade? It's a 2009 Pathfinder. And he goes, how many miles do you have on it? I go, 180,000. And he's like, oh, well, yeah. And I mean, you talk about backpedaling. And he's like, oh, well, that's a lot of miles. I don't, it's probably on its last.
So what you didn't see was every sales guy who's within earshot of that desk, who when he first said to you, are you interested in trading
they're looking
car?
at each other, right? They're making eye contact.
And you said yes, and they all looked down at their phone to see if they were going to get the call or he was going to pick up the microphone and say, salesman of the service desk. Soon as you rattled off your numbers, every one of them was like, you know what? Time for me to get some coffee. I'll be right back. I don't want that call. I don't want that call. I don't want to take that. I am not dancing around the dealership parking lot with this guy.
I'd rather go stand outside in the winter cold.
Yep.
Wait for somebody to drive in.
Tire kicker, window 6. Tire kicker, window 6. So before we end the show, I do want to talk about one thing related to the law, if you don't mind. But
I do not mind.
But to wrap it up, again, these big purchases like this, they come at you from out of the blue. You've talked about it a million times on the show. Have a purpose for your money. And a lot of people will make payments on a car payment for a million years, and then when the car payments stop, find a new home for that money.
Yeah.
You were making it before. Pretend you don't even have it. Keep on doing it so that when it comes time to go to the next car, you've got the money in place to be able to make at least the down payment these days, which is that's about the best part of the battle you can do.
Or you have money kind of set aside to do the the inevitable maintenance that's going to happen with your car.
That's right.
So
you're
going to need new brakes. You're going to need new tires. Something's going to go. There's going to be a noise that needs to get fixed.
You don't like writing the check for $1,000 for the belt, for the timing belt. But if you have the money put aside for it, it's
better than writing the $350 check per month or having that withdrawal come from your bank per month, because at the end of the day you're gonna. I mean, that's the deal. You're gonna save money in the long run if you keep your car and you take care of it and you drive your car for 188,000 miles.
Yeah. So before we wrap it up for the weekend, I do want to give. It's not going to be a moment of silence because we're on the radio. You're not supposed to have a moment of silence on the radio, but I got to give a shout out to the Queen of Soul.
Oh.
Aretha Franklin passed away after a brief illness.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was all over the news. And out of all the things I looked at, the one thing that and I'm not even going to lie, brought a tear to my eye was her 2015 performance at the Kennedy Center's honors, where the president was there and they were honoring Carole King.
Yep.
And she comes out and she sings, "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman." There isn't a dry eye in the house. They show the president's crying. I mean, Carole King's losing her mind. You just, again, you forget, we kind of get, depending on where you are, you get caught up in the 80s, that whole genre of music, but you forget what a ridiculously unbelievable talent she was. Tremendous, tremendous performer. Unbelievable, voice of a saint.
And you think about how hard it must have been for her to grow up in the music industry in that time in our country, and where she came from. Like, she came from nothing.
Oh yeah, nothing. Yeah.
And how she had a career of 60 years.
Her first kid, she was 14 years old. She had her first kid. 15, she had her second kid, right?
She had so she was 14, had a child.
Yeah.
15, had a second child, and still was able to kind of overcome that. I mean,
overcome all kinds of adversity, all this other crazy stuff. So leaves a phenomenal legacy. Leaves an unbelievable musical legacy, leaves an unbelievable financial legacy, but guess what she didn't leave?
I know you were going to say that.
Guess what she didn't leave?
Yep,
Guess what? She didn't leave.
She did not have an estate plan.
She didn't leave a will. She didn't leave a will. Not even an estate plan. I'm not even going to dive into the estate plan.
When I saw that, I knew it was going to show up on Money in the Law.
Okay?
Yeah.
Again, we have had this conversation in the past. We've had this conversation around many other luminaries, whether they're historical or musical or political. But again, here's somebody who, again, right, phenomenal. I got nothing but love and respect for her. And that's not even meant to be as a pun. But again, she knew she was sick. Knew she wasn't doing well.
She had a little time.
She had a little bit of notice, and we're not talking about what am I leaving? I'm leaving a couple of bucks. I'm not leaving a used car that you hope to buy. Or I'm not a used car that I hope to buy. I'm not leaving a collection of Hummels and some figurines and and some old clothes. I mean, she has the rights to her image, the rights to her likeness. She has the
and
royalties.
That's not even the number. That's the nebulous number. We're talking. I mean, she had $80 million.
Yeah. She had a couple bucks. Yeah. She had a couple of bucks. So we're talking about. I mean, leaving nobody in charge. She had 4 kids. I think she had 4 husbands. I mean, so now you want to talk about again. By all accounts, so far, the gloves have not come off yet. Everyone seems to sort of be comfortable in the idea that we'll figure out what's going to happen. But I guess my question to Aretha Franklin is the same question it would be to Aretha Jones, right? Yeah. Do you have a will in place? I'm not saying that we have to dial down on every single possible detail, but do we have an idea of what we generally want to happen, or more importantly, do we at least know who has a better sense of what we want to happen? I mean, you can do it in a flash, and you can. This is a conversation, right? You're Aretha Franklin. You say, hey, does anybody know a lawyer? Yeah. Somebody might know a lawyer.
I heard a guy on the radio the other day.
Yeah. He might be willing to fly into Detroit to do your estate plan for you. Yeah. So again, having a resource, having access to people and professionals, and you go to your manager and your people, and you say, look, you know what? I just got a diagnosis that's not great, and I need to make some plans because I got a couple of bucks to leave behind, and I want to make sure that I do it in the right way. And again, just who would make the decision or what type of just a general idea of what you want to have happen. Are you charitably inclined? Is it to your heirs? Is it to specific heirs? Is it to one heir? Is it to something where you appoint some people to say, I want you guys to make decisions, but I have at least put in place what that's going to look like. Now, unfortunately, much like the Prince situation, you're going to have somebody who has a royalty catalog and who has money that could come in over a number of years, and you've got songs that can be used, and I mean, there's it's a very complicated situation, and unfortunately, made all the more complicated by this idea of a planning piece. So again, we talk about it all the time. It's something for everybody to think about. We hate to have everybody think about it.
Stop sitting around and talking about it.
But,
do it.
And if you want to do it, and if you want to sing it, if you want to sing your wishes, we'll listen.
Oh yeah,
we'll listen.
Well, in fact, Jay plays the guitar. He'll
play. We might even write it up. We might even write it up. Yeah, we could do it musically.
Yeah,
we could do it musically.
We could do it that way if we had to.
Yeah. So just as a reminder, again, God rest her soul. But again, another idea of something to think about all the time, and it's something that comes up in the news. Like I said, it's come up a lot this week because it's one of those things that everybody, I think, still is amazed to say, really? I know, mom and dad and sisters and brothers and myself, how are we going to get around and get that done? But it happens, you forget to do it, but at some point, it becomes a priority item.
Yeah. It
becomes a priority item.
All right.
So that's all I got for you.
That's it.
That's
good.
That's all we get time for.
That's all we have time to think about it. But you better think.
You better think is right.
Think about what you're trying to do
right.
here.
All right. That's great.
I'm going to miss Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
all right.
God bless her.
And I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to miss you too, Christian. But next week, we'll be back on Money in the Law.
Have a great... Go ahead.
My FM,
all right.
101.3 WMRC.
Have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. Enjoy the last weekend of summer. Have some fun.
Be safe out there. We'll see you next time.